My name is Nathan Andrus. I'm studying history and political science.
My name is Rachel Galton, and I'm studying sociology and policy studies.
My name is Anastasia Polshakova, and I'm studying political science, Asian studies, and sociology.
My name is Alex Murphy, and I'm studying political science and policy studies.
My name is Melissa Marschall, and I'm a professor of political science here at Rice University. And I also basically founded and direct the Urban Lab program. So the program basically has a core course, which is the Comparative Urban Politics and Policy course. And that is a course that all of the students take. And that course covers a lot of ground. It's very interdisciplinary, looking at how human settlements have started, how they evolve over time, what the relationship between cities and nations are, and then the second part of the course really focuses on urban policy issues, which are very broad. And then students in that course are enrolled in one of the labs, which are 1-credit courses that focus on a particular city. And then it all culminates at the end with a poster session where the students have an opportunity to present their work to faculty, to other students, and that's the finish.
Although I was able to read articles in the lab class about what exactly was happening economically and politically in the country, it wasn't until I got to Istanbul and saw the gated communities rising in the city and the recently torn down squatter settlements that I really understood just how prevalent and how relevant my topic was to the country that I was studying.
I think that the structure of the course and Urban Lab together make for a really unique learning opportunity. You get to see a broad scope. What are the issues that face cities around the world, and then you get to hone in on your specific city in Istanbul or some of the other cities, Buenos Aires and Shanghai, and you get to see that what issues are specific to those contexts, and then go to the cities and explore them. That's really fascinating. It brings the fields of study to life, and in a way that I haven't experienced in other courses.
So there's just a lot of guidance throughout the project, which is definitely really helpful because it's daunting when you're doing a research project on a country that you've never been to before. So in that aspect, I was really pleasantly surprised, and I think it really improved the quality of our projects in the end.
Even though the course is interdisciplinary, we focus on social science methods of research. And so in the lab in particular, we look at what already exists, and we really work with the students to identify what kind of observations they could make while they're in the field that will help them either describe the thing that they're trying to understand or to try to develop a study that will allow them to look at relationships.
My project for the Urban Lab focused on studying the displacement of the lower classes at the expense of building expensive private housing for the upper classes in Istanbul. While the government claims to also be building social housing for these lower classes, it turns out that many of these lower classes cannot afford to live there, and the cumulative effect that I discovered in my research has been displacement of the poor to the suburbs. It was a unique opportunity because I was able to create some of my own data that I collected through discussion on the trip, and I was able to create my own maps where I located sites of the settlements and then demonstrated the disparities of wealth on the map.
And so going to Istanbul, I set out to examine their public transportation system firsthand and to measure, using land value data, the access of people living in poorer communities to the public transportation system.
I thought it was really relevant to sort of try to gauge what the public demand was for green spaces in the city. So I looked at media outlets, newspapers in Istanbul that were talking about green spaces and the projects that were threatening them. I sort of tried to gauge public demand from that.
So there are lots of municipal districts in the city of Istanbul, and we have been visiting several of them over time, and one of the districts, Beyoğlu, had a female candidate running for mayor in 2014, and so we had the opportunity to follow her around on one of her campaign days.
She went through a neighborhood and we walked with her as she met with different constituents, and we walked through a bazaar with her, met with the different people, sang her campaign song.
And we basically spent almost an entire day working with her and her campaign crew. So it was, again, a first-hand look at politics in another city and how it works. It's quite different from local politics in the United States.
It was really crazy, and the song is still stuck in my head.
One of the things I was worried most about the program was that the flight to Istanbul was going to be very long. But actually, the flight was one of the best experiences. The Turkish Airlines planes are very well equipped. The seats are very comfortable. Before, I slept like a baby. So before I knew it, we were there, and so the flight was actually a very pleasant experience. I haven't been able to study abroad, so being able to go to a new environment and be able to critically analyze that environment definitely gave me a new experience that has affected my studies here at Rice, and particularly being able to do empirical, sort of like social science style research project has been really helpful in how I tackle my papers and projects for other classes.
I hope to become an urban planner, and so studying housing in Istanbul was just such an awesome way to begin that phase of my life where I'm beginning to look at my life's work and the things I'm going to be researching and studying for the rest of my life.
The Urban Lab program for me is a success when students are really engaged with learning, and when they make the connection between the things they've been reading about in books or talking about in class in the real world. So I see that happening while we're there, while we're in Istanbul, and for me that's kind of a magical moment. A lot of students get engaged in their topic. They get engaged in urban studies. They want to go on and do a master's in urban planning. They want to go back to Turkey and do a study abroad. They want to be in a think tank and continue to study the problems that they observe. So I feel like it really shapes the way students view their academic career and also what they might do beyond the hedges when they leave Rice.
What's your favorite thing about Istanbul?
The food.
I'd have to say the food. The food was really good.
The food is phenomenal.
Definitely the food.
Food is great. Turks like to eat meat.
Anytime there was food, it was great.
And desserts are good.
Baklava is probably now my new favorite dessert.
It's very sweet, sticky, nutty.
Being greeted at a dessert shop with free dessert.
It's a tea drinker's delight.
I have not had food as good as their food since I got back, so I'm definitely going back soon.
Yeah, it's the food. Yeah, it's the food. But yeah.